Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's Thursday, and you know what that means? We've got a list of 13 things to tell you about. And this is a combo list because of this bad passing away of Robert Redford. So we're talking about 13 Supertramp songs that belong in a Robert Redford movie, and he has a lot of them. So we're able to get 13 of them down to 13 songs and movies that should be a new combo here.
There was 80. Original list was 80. So
wow, that's a lot. Yeah, we definitely got it down. So this is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started. We've just got caffeine in our bodies and we're learning to read live on stream. So let's get into today's headlines. Today on Thursday's 13. The Taliban internet ban spreads across Afghanistan as more provinces are shut down. And Dmitry Kozak, Putin aide opposed to Ukraine war, resigns from the Washington Post.
And we're going to talk about controversy in the sporting world as accusations, finger pointing, and blame gaming is going on. And of course, I'm talking about the International Stone Skipping Contest. Plus, ex-Love is Blind contestant files class action lawsuit over inhumane working conditions on reality shows. Way too much reading.
No, you chose to do three stories in one sitting. So, I mean, first migrant deported to France under Starmer's 1-in-1 out deal. This is, of course, talking about the deal France made to get some immigration out of the UK. And speaking of France, it braces for mass protests as austerity plans deepen anti-Macron anger.
And for Thursday's 13, we're gonna explore two recent legends that passed away as we were talking about Supertramp songs that should have been included in Robert Redford movies. Very specialized list.
In my culture news, let's talk about Together for Palestine concert, including Benedict Cumberbatch. I didn't even know he could sing. Damon Albarn. Then a Cherry takes stage at Galvanizing and starts out a gig for Gaza. Gig for Gaza.
Gig. No, basically anybody can sing, just not well. And it's National Cheeseburger Day. Yes. So get that 2 parts of the cow, the cheese part and the meat part, and put them together for September 18th, 2025 on Before Coffee. Page and I had to
okay.
adjust.
I was so confused why suddenly you started speaking and all.
Maybe we can start the show with, I know it's more work for you. Maybe we can start the show when we put it on YouTube. We can start with a sample of like one of the things we did later in the show. I don't know. I see a lot of places to start like that.
Yeah, I bet they also have more time to edit.
To grab a preview.
The problem with those, right, we talked about this before. We'll talk about it real quickly again. You want me... What you're watching when people do that is a show that was probably recorded a month ago or 2 weeks ago.
I know that. I know all this. Yeah. I know it takes time.
No. It's not that it takes time. It's the fact that we are doing a show that is daily released with one editor, and you are just a host. You're not, and your camera's going crazy. Oh my god! I'm gonna have epileptic seizure from that. So, fix your camera. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, you are not really doing anything for the show, right? You're just the talent. I'm doing all the work here. So yeah, if you want to do some work, go ahead. Feel free, because I don't have any more time to do. Yeah. I mean, we were trying to do the reaction videos, right? But you got impatient. You got impatient with the, months it takes to edit a proper reaction video where, you know, we don't get copyright strikes for putting the entire episode on screen.
Show.
Yeah. So that's why we're doing the podcast to begin with, is because you wanted to release something daily. And with dailiness, you get less editing. That's just... Otherwise, I'm releasing Thursday's episode for Friday and Friday's episode for Saturday, you know what I mean? So...
Okay.
That's all. That's my opinion on it. It's not, you know... That's just my opinion.
We're just killing the show here, but let's go.
You can also not mention these things. Right when you can mention these things before we go live instead of during the show as well.
That's true. I didn't know you were going to get it. It was just an idea. I guess.
Your first segue is a limerick, in which I have two stories. I'll try to read them slowly, because they're not very long. This first story is some sad news coming out of Afghanistan after the West caused all the damage. Well, not just the West, but Russia as well. Caused so much damage in Afghanistan and then abandoned it to the Taliban anyways. And now they're under Sharia law, which in this case, they're banning the internet in all provinces, it looks like. It's on
of course they are.
By, I guess it's not by anyone, but it's coming out of Jalalabad, Afghanistan. A Taliban crackdown to prevent immorality is spreading across Afghanistan, very North Korean, with more provinces losing access to fiber optic internet after the country's leader imposed a complete ban on the technology. It's the first time a ban of this kind has been imposed since the Taliban seized power in August 1. Can't believe it's been that long. Such a long conflict that, you know, people were in Afghanistan for a long time. Already reversed everything they did, feels like. I mean, what they put all these fiber optic internet cables, I guess. They're being shut down, and this leaves the government offices, the private sector, and the public institutions and homes without Wi-Fi internet. Mobile internet remains functional, however. Officials say alternatives are being found for necessity. The Northern Balk province confirmed a Wi-Fi shutdown on Tuesday, which is the 16th of September. Reports of severe disruption in other parts of the country. On Thursday, officials in the east and north said internet access was cut off in the provinces of Baghlan, Badakhshan, Kunduz, Nangarhar, and Takhar. Siddiqullah Kirashi from the Nangarhar Culture Directorate confirmed the shutdown to the Associated Press. The governor's office in Kunduz shared a message in an official WhatsApp group. The Afghanistan Media Support Organization condemned the ban and expressed concern. This action, carried out at the orders of the Taliban leaders, not only disrupts millions of citizens' access to free information and essential services, but it also poses a grave threat to freedom of expression and the work of the media instead. Last year, a spokesman for communications ministry, Enayatullah Alokozai, told the private TV channel Tolo News that Afghanistan had a fiber optic network of more than 1,800 kilometers or 1,125 miles, and that approval had been given for an additional 488 kilometers or 305 miles. Most Afghan provinces have had fiber optic services now. So it's a great thing. Somebody put money into updating the internet infrastructure just for them to shut all the internet down to prevent immorality, whatever that is. I'm not sure what that is. I'm trying to see if there's actually more details here on what this complete immorality is, but not anything really here. The ban started Tuesday and has been going. More of like an update. Not that there's any news to share. Yeah, the original article
doesn't even have anything. That's pretty shitty, man.
Oh. You finish your limerick?
Yeah, they're North Korea. I have one.
Okay.
We went after Osama bin L. The Afghanis went through hell. With war and repression, now no chance for progression. Now there's no social media with which to tell.
Yeah.
You can't even report on the conditions. No. Hey, everything's great here in Afghanistan. Yep. This is what we.
The Taliban tell us everyone's very happy. At least the people who are still alive. Next story.
Oh, yeah. Everybody that clinging to life is still happy.
Yeah, they're happy. They have their bodies. The next story is coming out of Russia as Dmitry Kozak, an aide who opposed the Ukraine war, has resigned from the Kremlin post. Might be a new member of the Putin's flying school soon. This is by Lucy Pakhyuk on the Key Independent. Dmitry Kozak, a longtime associate of Russian dictator President Vladimir Putin, has resigned from his post as the Kremlin's deputy chief of staff. Presidential spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said on the 18th of September, which is today. The statement comes as confirmation of early reporting in Russian media. The Ukraine-born Kremlin aide is leaving his position. Kozak is one of the few senior Russian officials opposed to the 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Citing unnamed sources, pro-government news agency RBK said Kozak is considering a transition into the business world. I'm going to become an oligarch instead. According to Peskov, Kozak is leaving of his own accord. His resignation has been accepted, with September 19th set as Kozak's last day in the office. Interfax reported, citing an undisclosed source. Wow, that's quick. I'm quitting. Well, your last day is tomorrow. New York Times previously reported that Kozak had privately advised Putin against launching the war in Ukraine in 2020. He also reportedly warned of dire consequences of a full-scale invasion, including fierce Ukrainian resistance, which has been true. I think there might have been some people whispering in Putin's ears that Ukraine would fold instantly to their invasion, and it hasn't happened yet. 3 years in, hasn't happened yet. Almost four years in. This year, Kozak presented Putin a plan aimed at ending the war and initiating domestic reforms. Born in Ukraine's Kirovohrad Oblast, Kozak once played a leading role in the Kremlin's Ukraine policy. Following his opposition to the war, he is believed to have lost significant influence in the circle. Many of his responsibilities shifted to Sergei Kirienko, deputy head of Russia's presidential administration, who now oversees Russian-occupied territory in Ukraine. Yep. Remember that guy, Kirienko. He's one probably responsible for trafficking children from Ukraine, forcing people to burn their Ukrainian citizen papers, and giving them Russian passports. Things that are illegal, by the way. You can't enforce your ID system onto another another country's people, just because and well, it's not even an official annex, right? They're occupying it. It's not annexed yet. They already started saying, you're Russian now. Kozak has been one of Putin's closest allies since the 1990s, when they worked together in the St. Petersburg mayor's office. He went on to hold several senior governmental positions, serving as deputy prime minister from 2008 to 2020, where he assumed his most recent role as deputy chief of staff in 2020. RBK made no mention of Kozak's position on the Ukraine invasion. According to the outlet, the transition of high-ranking officials into business is a common practice in Russia. So maybe he'll be fine. This is all part of the plan, and nothing will happen to him. I mean, at least he can say he tried to turn Putin's ear, I guess, to not invading Ukraine. He's not on the winning side, but he was on the side that tried to do something, I guess.
Putin's plan is conquest. This guy thinks Putin has a real plan. He doesn't.
Give me your limerick.
Limerick time. I'm sorry, I misspelled. I wrote his name. Peskov? That was
no.
Name? Dmitry
Kozak.
Peskov. What's his? What?
Kozak.
Okay, let's do that again then. You said somebody else's name then.
Yes, that was
Kozak. Got it.
You're thinking of the other guy who's in charge.
Right, let's do it.
Peskov is the person who's
Dmitry.
The diplomat.
Dmitry Kozak has seen enough floor. He is looking to find a new chore. He resigned in frustration about his failing nation. He should stay below the 5th floor. Or the 4th floor.
Yeah, I think you can probably get pretty injured.
Yeah, don't get above the 3rd floor. Whatever you do, buddy.
Might break your ankle. You don't want that. It's gonna make you easier to throw a window. Oh, but
I think I can survive. I think I can survive a 2nd story fall. I don't think I can survive a 3rd story or 4th. But that's just me.
Good limerick either way. Let's roll our segue wheel for your stories,
like a cat,
which you have
too.
many. You have many stories.
When you fall out of that window by accident, I only got 2 stories. I don't know what this is all about.
Oh, I thought you said 3 headlines. You said something about sports drama.
No, that was 1 story. It just took me a while to read it.
Okay, our next limerick. Oh no, sorry, not our next limerick. Our next is hypothetical.
Limerick. Hope you get hypothetical for skipping stones, right? Throwing rocks. There's a sport being ball throwing rocks, and probably the first sport. If you think about it. Once people figured they could skip a stone on water, it became a competition. This is from popularscience.com, popsci.com. Andrew Paul is the author. Scandal rocks international stone skipping contest. Yet another scandal has been reported in the international sports world. Earlier this month, over 2,200 people traveled from 27 countries to car-free island of Easdale off Scotland's eastern coast for the annual World Stone Skimming Competition. Held nearly every year since 1983. They left out the word since. They need an editor. Held every year, nearly every year since 1983. The contest invites participants to test their skills in the world's first dedicated stone skimming arena, a slate quarry that flooded in 1981. So it's a perfectly glass, flat area. No rules. Perfect skipping. The world's stone skimming contestants must use unaltered stones selected from naturally occurring slate. Judges then use a measuring device dubbed the Ring of Truth to make sure that each rock is no longer larger than 3 inches wide. Participation is then attempting 3 skims, each of which must bounce at least twice to qualify towards the cumulative score. But according to the tossmaster, Kyle Matthews, judges soon heard rumors and murmurings of some nefarious deeds. He also added to BBC's Good Morning Scotland that there was a bit of stone doctoring. Unlike the unaltered skimming stones, the stone selections in question appear to have been ground into almost circular shapes in the hopes of improving their bounce potential. Speaking with Popular Science, Matthews, who has also served as competition organizer for the past 3 years, said this discovery was a first for the championship, which also serves as a charity event for local organizations. This is the first time skimmers have contacted me after the event to raise their concerns, he explained. So I think it had been happening in previous years. They would have told me then. The would-be cheaters admitted to the scheme by a show of hands and apologized for the misdeeds, and after the judges raised their suspicions, the investigators concluded the remaining competitors took the water's edge and aimed for greatness. From there, stone skipping becomes as much as science. What separates a champion skimming stone from a plunker largely comes down to physics. The initial toss meets the definition of ballistic in that its trajectory through the air is object momentum under the force of gravity. However, this changes as soon as the stone hits the water's surface. Upon contact with the water, the stone's downward velocity is reversed, and its horizontal velocity reverses. This then bounces the rock upwards thanks to the principle of conservation momentum. The stone then slows with each subsequent successful skim. It loses energy to its surroundings. Eventually, the rock penetrates the water's surface and ultimately sinks. Professional stone skimmers like John Jennings spent countless hours practicing strategies to make the most of these dynamics, and this year the Kentucky resident made history. It still feels unreal. My goal is to make the top 50 and qualify to come back next year, Jennings tells Popular Science. He more than met this goal during his second visit to the World Stone Skimming Championship with a cumulative score of 580.7 feet or 117 meters. Jennings is the official world champion. He also first American to ever win the showdown, as well as the contest new record holder for distance. Jennings says that everything he knows about science of stone skipping comes from Kurt Steiner. Since 2013, Guinness World Record skips in a single throw. 88 skips. Who's counting them? You had to have recorded that on camera, right? You can't just live count them.
Yeah, there's algorithms or AI that can read that stuff. Similar to probably how they figure out when somebody crosses the end finish line on a race.
In 2013, did AI exist to do that? I don't know. Maybe not.
AI has existed for a very long time. Yeah. Generative AI is the new thing.
I know AI has existed for a very long time, but again, as a person is not impressed with AI, I don't think it's really that great. I'm still trying to figure out what it's supposed to be doing for us. Over the years, he has become a dear friend of mine and my family, Genesee explains, talking about Steiner. He talks about rock needs to hit the water at 15 to 20 degree angle. The gyroscopic spin is what propels the stone through the water. Precedented scandal, Jennings says the issue amounted to a small splash. There's your, what do you want to call it? A pun, I guess? Or clever phrasing. A small splash in the grand scheme of things. There was talk of altered stones the day of the contest. Remember, since no one was suspected to have altered stones won, I think it was less of an issue. Based on Jennings' own strategy, it sounds like the artificially rounded stones never stood a chance. Me personally, I like more square stones with flat edges. The flat edges seem to slice through the water, where the rounder edges seem to gallop through the water. The flat stone edges give it a little more grip as well. So their little story about the cheating scandal in the stone skipping contest.
Yeah, I mean, like somebody bringing in their false rock, like, what was that? Who did that? Was it Tom Brady with the Inflategate thing?
Right, exactly right. Tom Brady, yep. These people raised their hands and admitted they cheated, though. It's like, oh yeah, I planted a stone. I came here last week and planted a whole shitload of stones, and I knew where to find them.
That's so crazy. I guess that's part of the competition, right? Finding the perfect rock.
Find the right stone.
Yeah.
My thing with flat stones is they tend to me, the way I throw them, they tend to tumble. So when they hit the ground, instead of just skip, they'll skip and tumble, and they're like 3. And you only get 3 out of that. So what I do is I get the rounder stones. Like the round stones don't tumble; they just keep
spinning
the globe, right? Across the water. But I'm not a world champion, so I don't know. I just know I can skip like 14. I can skip like 14 with a round stone about that. Or more. I don't know. It's really hard to count, right?
I'm going to steal that as a hypothetical, but I like this idea that somebody just like went out a week before, collected a bunch of really good stones, and then just put them on the beach. Like at a
they actually made their own stone. They made their own stones and planted them on the beach.
So they put them in them. But it's funnier to think they just build an entire truck.
I'm picturing guys.
Ski masks.
Picturing guys camoed up night. Ski mask or camoed up, right? They're black. Reflect the moonlight. Crawling across the field, getting up to the quarry, throwing a bag of rocks out there, crawling back to the, crawling back to their cars, disappearing into the night. I'm gonna get into the skipping contest. It kills me. By golly, the prize is a free beer.
Some people have some crazy goals in life. Next story.
Yeah. All right. Next story, we're going to talk about reality shows and how they're not even close to being reality. They're basically torture sessions, according to this one person. HollywoodReporter.com. Winston Cho is the author. Hollywood Reporter. Ex-Love is Blind contestant files class action lawsuit over inhumane conditions on reality shows. This could ripple across the industry, according to the author. A former contestant on Love is Blind has sued the makers of the Netflix dating series for a series of alleged labor violations, marking another lawsuit challenging working conditions and pay in reality TV. Hopefully, this will get rid of reality TV, as we know. Show me fake TV shows or documentaries or anything besides. Let's cause problems between these interpersonal relationships and make a show out of it. And I'm like, please. And you're making stars out of people that have no talent, let's say. And a proposed class action filed in California State Court on Monday, Stephen Richardson says he and his show's other contestants should have been classified as employees, which would have entitled them to certain protections related to minimum wage over terms over confidentiality. The filing comes after National Labor Relations Board last year issued a complaint against the production in which it said the cast members were misclassified as independent contractors, opening the door to possible unionization.
Oh.
4 years, contestants of Love is Blind and other reality TV shows that complained of unsafe work conditions, many including those on Bravo's Real Housewives and Vanderpump Rules. Vanderpump Rules sued one cast member, Renee Poche, lost last year against the production companies behind Love is Blind, which include kinetic content in Delirium TV, accusing them of labor violations. Arbitration proceedings seeking $4 million were later initiated against her for allegedly violating her non-disclosure agreement. You sign a non-disclosure agreement and they violate labor laws, and you can't. I'm sorry. Like Poche, Richardson, who appeared on season 7 of the series, says he was forced to sign a similar contract. It required him to pay roughly $97,000 for breaches of the agreement, which includes terms relating to confidentiality and non-compete. In other words, you can't go to another reality show either. The reality TV industry has long shielded itself from litigation by leveraging contracts with non-disclosure agreements and provisions requiring legal action to meet the arbitration. Oh, yeah, you sign it because you want to be a star, and then you go, I didn't read it. Well, read the shit before you sign it. Then don't complain because you didn't read it. Okay, here's a sentence that doesn't make any sense. Any by classifying contestants as that's not a sentence. It says any by classifying contestants as independent contractors rather than employees, the productions can avoid. Oh, the word any should be there. Okay, so editor's been fired for this. Don't go over their stuff before they publish it. Anyway, the sentence should begin with by, not any. It says by classifying contestants as contractors rather than employees, the productions can avoid wage and time obligations, among others. One of the factors used by court-sided classification question is whether the employer, in this case, Kinetic and Delirium, nice name, exercise a certain degree of control over their worker, advertising their own delirium in their title. So there you go. On this issue, the lawsuit claims that the production oversaw every aspect of the lives of the show's cast, including their communications and eating and sleeping schedules at the hotel where cast members were residing during shooting. The production directed staff not to provide food, according to the complaint. Oh, don't feed them. They're not really people, I guess. I don't know. Why can you have control over whether they eat or not? Somebody help me here.
They're not really people.
Somebody help me out here. The contestants' IDs, all its phones and credit cards were taken away. It says credits. Again, can we hire an editor here at Hollywood Reporter? Maybe look at these stories before you publish them. Thus eliminating their ability to leave the hotel during quarters or production set, the lawsuit says. When Jeremy Hartwell, a cast member in the second season of Love is Blind, sued the production in 2022, it was revealed that the contestants were paid $1,000 a week, an effective wage of roughly $7 per hour for working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. Richardson's lawsuit doesn't disclose the stipend has increased since then, though he also alleges he should have been paid minimum wage and overtime. Depending on your state you're in, the minimum wage is only $7.25, so you're not that far behind it. The lawsuit, which names Netflix, Kinetic Content, and Delirium TV, seeks unspecified damage and claims for multiple labor violations. It seeks to represent people who applied for or participated in reality TV productions produced in California by the production company. Okay, California has a minimum wage about $16 an hour, so that's probably $7 an hour ain't gonna get you shit. Of course, they did get a free hotel room. They're not mentioning that stuff, right? Anyway, there's your story on the awful, awful world of, reality TV that, I don't know, I watch a lot of reality TV. Shame on me, but, I tend to watch American Pickers, which I know is totally set up. I know it's totally set up. I'm in advance know it's totally set up. I'm not fooling on myself to think that these guys are just rolling in unannounced to somebody's land, and there's already a camera there.
Yeah.
What a coincidence, right?
That's crazy. That's wild. Yeah.
Wow, they rolled up on this guy, and his gate is closed, but somehow there's a cameraman inside. Okay. Right. Cameraman with all his gear in a van and everything, right?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, what it sounds like, I feel like there should be a law against this. Like NDAs covering up breaking labor laws. Like, oh, you can't tell anyone we broke the law because you're under an NDA. I thought NDA was supposed to save you from corporate espionage and stuff, or your family recipe and stuff like that.
Not all NDAs are legal. So these are probably illegal. These are illegal NDAs. Like, if you have a slave, say, right? I have a slave in my basement, but it's okay. I have an NDA agreement. No,
it protects
you can't
me from him from admitting he's a slave. Yeah. I guess my hypothetical situation is I don't know if they were, but maybe they weren't sharing all of these things between each other, because this is why it was very important to share how much money you're making, right? Including on reality shows.
Right.
And I bet you at some point they said, "Oh, hey Tom, how much did you get paid for being on that one show?" I got paid like $1,000 a day, and they're like, "What? I was making $5,000 a day." And then they, this probably revealed. It got revealed. What the fuck?
Part of their NDA.
Yeah, they broke their NDA.
Part of their NDA, right? They might be telling other people that they're making more than other people, and well, we needed you on the show, so we had to kick in a little extra money, but don't tell anybody, or it's in your NDA.
Don't tell anybody that.
Once you tell them,
which is illegal.
Exactly,
it's illegal to tell people you're not allowed to reveal your money. That is actually a protected worker's right.
Yeah, you cannot. Places. Yeah, you can't prevent workers from doing that. In fact, my last job, people are freely telling me what they make, and I freely told them, and it pissed them off. And I don't care. I worked a lot of years in this field. When you're 60, come fucking tell me what you're making.
Yeah. People,
right,
and it's good to know, because then you know what you should be striving for. Roll our next segue wheel.
Next segues.
That's why I'm always sharing how much money I'm making doing whatever this is, because I want people to know.
I'm not. I don't want the tax man to know. The tax man's gonna come after me if I tell him. That's the only reason.
All right, let's tell a joke.
Why would I volunteer that shit on the air? What is it? Sorry, I was talking.
Tell a joke.
A joke. All right. What's it about?
Mr. Jokester, we're talking about the first migrant is deported to France under Starmer's 1-in-1 out deal. So back, I think probably last month or maybe a month before that, the France and the UK made a deal where they're trying to curb immigration and actually curb housing refugees and migrants trying to get in. So the idea is if they deport somebody, they deport to France, and then they let one person in once they deport someone to France. I'm sure we'll go about it in the article, but this is from Holly Bancroft, the Home Affairs correspondent, and Archie Mitchell on The Independent. The first migrant has been deported to France under Sir Keir Starmer's 1-in, 1-out deal. The man, who arrived in the UK on a small boat in August, was flown into Paris from Heathrow on Thursday morning, which is today, the 18th of September. First arrivals to the UK from France under the scheme are expected in the coming days, with more deportation flights due next. The news comes after the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, vowed to review modern slavery laws after the High Court blocked an Eritrean asylum seeker removed from the UK under the deal. Deportation, which was first reported by the Telegraph, follows 3 days of failed attempts by the Home Office to remove migrants under the scheme. The migrant is from India, and French officials are expecting to receive another migrant under the scheme later today, the did. Officials reportedly requested an Indian national, as France has an agreement with India to accept returns. The UK-France returns pilot will initially run until June 6, so they're having a whole year run to see how well it works out. Announcing the news of the first return to France, Home Secretary Ms. Mahmoud said, "This is an important first step to securing our borders, Sends a message to people crossing in small boats. If you enter the UK illegally, we will seek to remove you. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Phillips said Labour must come clean and clarify whether the removal was voluntary. He added, Labour announced the return deal. 9,909 illegal immigrants have crossed the channel. We're supposed to celebrate one solitary return. Whatever. I don't understand what makes it illegal to get on a boat and go to the UK. I guess they're not entering an official border crossing. Whatever. That's why it's illegal. So that's the people themselves aren't illegal. It's how they're crossing, and that's illegal. I just want to clarify. I don't believe in illegal human beings. There you go. Labour must come clean.
No, nobody's.
Was this removal voluntary?
Don't forget the labor shortage.
How many are we taking from France? And how much taxpayers' money has already been wasted on empty flights? Comes after the High Court granted a last-minute injunction to a 25-year-old Eritrean man Tuesday on the 16th of September, halting his removal on an early flight to Paris last Wednesday, the 17th. Ms. Mahmoud said last-minute attempts to frustrate a removal are intolerable, and added that she would fight them at every step, as she confirmed that Home Office would appeal against the High Court's temporary block. The appeal will seek to limit the amount of time a person has to provide evidence to challenge their negative modern decision. Home Office is undertaking a rapid review of modern slavery legislation to prevent its abuse. So they're basically saying, instead of giving you a month to appeal, we're going to give you 2 weeks to appeal. They're going to reduce the amount of time you have to appeal. And if you fail your appeal because you probably aren't given enough time, that's not their problem. That's what it sounds like. Vexatious last-minute modern slavery claims. Yeah, the Home Secretary said that the asylum seekers were making vexatious last-minute modern slavery claims, as in pulling something out of the law to say, this is why I'm allowed to stay in the country, because of this. Which you're allowed to do. If rich people are allowed to find loopholes where they don't have to pay taxes, why aren't poor people allowed to find loopholes to explain why they're allowed to stay in a country that they want to live in? But I'm an immigrant, so what do I know? But the Independent Anti-Slavery Commissioner Eleanor Lyons condemned Ms. Mahmoud's comments, saying that they would put lives at risk. Several asylum seekers were due to be deported under the one-in, one-out scheme this week, and had the removal directions removed after they sent pre-action leave letters to the Home Office. You can't send me back to Eritrea. I will just be enslaved there. I think that's the idea, right? I'm at risk of becoming a slave if you send me back to Eritrea. Well, that's poppycock. You're going back there anyways. We're not going to look into it. That's what the Home Office Secretary wants. Just, we're not going to actually look at the slavery as possible. Because fuck these guys. We just want them out of here. We don't see them as human beings. The Home Office has agreed to review some cases. Charity Detention Action, currently supporting 28 people detained under the UK returns deal, said that 4 of them had removal directions scheduled Monday and Wednesday, which were all cancelled or deferred, no further set. 2 people the charity supporting have the removal scheduled for this week or early next week. Of the 28, 7 people have indicators of human trafficking. Only 1 has been referred so far for modern slavery report. And yeah, because I think the other problem is, which is the real thing that happened in the UK, you had a bunch of people over from countries that, don't have a lot, they're poor, they don't have a lot of money, they're looking for a better life. You get traffickers who say, hey, I got a great deal for you. I got a great way for you can make a lot of money for your family. You're going to have a better life. They have free healthcare over there. And they say, wow, sign me up. This sounds like a great deal. And then next thing they know, they're working in a sweatshop. I think that was one article we covered this year. They found out a bunch of people were basically working in like 10 people living in one house, working at several different places. All their money was taken. All of their IDs were taken, right? They couldn't be people. All the proof of who they were was taken away. And they were taking all the money and sending it over to pay their bosses huge expenses. Like, I bought a yacht thanks to those migrants living in the UK who are working at Burger King. They bought me a yacht over here in Eritrea. And that was a real thing that happened. It was maybe not a yacht, but that's what they're doing. They were paying for these people, these traffickers, very expensive lifestyles, and none of this money was probably going to their families at all. They were lied to, say, yeah, we're going to send money to your family, and none of it was ever sent. deposited in some rich asshole's bank account. Either way, Enver Solomon, CEO of the Refugee Council, said that while the UK-France deal is workable, it still needs to be run in a fair and competent way. That sounds like the Home Office just wants to get people out of there and is not actually looking to make sure people aren't being tracked, they're not being tortured, as well as children that are not put on these flights. Because children, whatever, are guiltless. And one good thing about the world, everyone agrees children are guiltless.
Where are we going, Dad? Where are we going, Mom? Where are we going? Somewhere. The children don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Everyone is given the opportunity to make their case about why they shouldn't be returned to France. Obiasia Hausau at the charity Freedom from Torture, not Freedom for Torture. Freedom from Torture also criticized Miss Mahmoud's modern slavery comments, saying, "A survivor of torture, I know just how harmful it is to dismiss late asylum disclosures as vexatious. Trauma, fear, and hostile silence is people, not dishonesty." Yeah, there's nothing scarier as an immigrant myself of thinking if I say the wrong thing, they're going to use that against me and decide I definitely need to go to France, right? Or maybe I'm a criminal and who knows, right? There's people, you don't know what the Home Office or the Immigration Services side paints you as a bad person and needs to be deported. So you're just like, I'll just say normal things. And I won't mention that back in Eritrea, I was basically being whipped every day and picking cotton or something. I don't know what they're doing in Eritrea. I don't know. Right? But maybe I shouldn't reveal this. I don't know if I should reveal this. And
it's a fascist country. I know that much. Sorry.
Also, right, if you're being trafficked into the UK, you probably paid a lot of money to somebody, lost all your money, and then you have trust issues, right? You're scared that somebody else is scamming you. Oh, the UK is scamming me. They say I need to give them one more document, and then I need to pay £200 in order to, for the fee of.
There's a language barrier too,
and that's my last £200 I have left, and I'm not sure if I should do this because that's my last money. Why immigrants make decisions, and it's not always.
They don't speak French.
Yeah. And it's also not always due to them being illegal, or being criminals, right? They're just trying to they're just trying to avoid prejudice in a world that's already anti them, right?
I know the United States being here illegally is just a misdemeanor, but we're locking people up for it.
Yeah, and deporting them to who knows where.
No, they're just locking them up and then not deporting them. They're just locking them up. We don't even know. They don't charge them with anything. Is it time for my joke? So, well, what are these refugees saying when they're being deported to France? Hey, at least the food's better. At least I get a decent meal. There's your joke. We rip on English food again. What? A sheep's bladder.
It's like
s'mores sheep's bladder for everybody.
More, what is it? Starry fish or whatever. Starry fish pie or whatever that shit.
Fish and chips for 12 days in a row. Yum.
At least I get some good wine over in France. God damn. Yeah. That's right. At the end of the day, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure why people aren't wanting to go to France, but France is also very anti-immigrant. So. And the whole of Northern Europe right now is just, immigrants, gross. You know any of these people? No? Okay. Anyways, and speaking of France, we're going to talk about mass protests, because of course there is in France. Okay. But this is, of course, more anti-Macron anger, because it looks like as much as people keep on begging and pleading, please, tax the rich, he just won't do it. It's from Ellis Javory and news agencies on Al Jazeera. France is braced for nationwide disruption as unions launch mass strikes to protest against government proposals for budget cuts. The walkout by teachers, health workers, and transport staff, among others. These are the people who run our society, right? We want more money. Oh, sorry, we can't give you more money because we have to make sure the rich aren't taxed. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I can't afford to buy pencils for my class. That rich guy needs a new yacht. On today, the 18th of September, it's expected to paralyze parts of the country, with unions promising one of the largest mobilizations since last year's battle over the pension. The action has been spurred by austerity plans, which have increased anger against President Emmanuel Macron. Austerity is just like, let the rich people keep on being rich. That's what it stands for, okay? If you ever hear the word austerity, that's what it means, right? We're letting the rich people keep being rich, and you not getting any of that. Trickle down doesn't work, by the way. The head of the state has been seen his popularity drop to new lows amid a government crisis that shows little sign of dissipating, despite a recent change of prime minister. Well, that's because the prime minister is just internal matters. He can't change the broad strokes of what the president's deciding. Strikes will see 1/3 of teachers walk out. 9 in 10 pharmacies closed. Severe disruption across the Paris metro. Only 3 driverless lines are expected to run normally. While most high-speed trains are likely to run, metro and suburban rail services face major delays. Air traffic disruption should be limited after controllers postponed a planned strike until October. Wait a minute, you can't strike all of you at once! Nah, fuck them. Data from the state-controlled utility EDF showed on this morning, in September, that nuclear power production was cut by 1.1 gigawatts as workers lowered output as part of their industrial action. Officials said they fear violence on the sidelines of union marches, announcing a massive police presence on the streets. Yeah, I mean, I would say that too. Just to, this could be state-sanctioned aggression, right? We're gonna make you see that we're not gonna be pushed around, but we're gonna use the excuse that we're scared of violence, you know? Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau warned of a very, very strong mobilization, describing the day as hybrid events, mixing sanctioned demonstrations, potential sabotage from ultra-left groups. He said that more than 80,000 police and gendarmes, supported by drones, armored vehicles, and water cannons, would be deployed. Authorities expect between 600,000 and 900,000 protesters wide. Yet again, France giving us a great example of how to protest. Almost 1 million people over the entire country is insanity. Sébastien Lecornu, the former defense minister, took office last week as Macron's 7th prime minister. As promised, they've changed prime minister so much that it's not even in the news headlines anymore. I didn't even hear about this. As probably all the other bullshit that's going on.
The new prime minister is that guy in the French castle.
Yeah. It's promised to chart a new course, but that has failed to soften the hostility of workers. Yeah, because they want change now, not in 5 years. Unions remain furious over a 45 billion euro or $52 billion austerity plan drafted by Lecornu's predecessor, Francois Bayrou. They're also skeptical of Lecornu's promises to scrap the lifelong privileges enjoyed by prime ministers and to abandon a proposal to cut 2 public holidays. The government argues that deep cuts are needed to reduce France's budget deficit. You know what also can help save the deficit? Getting more tax money from rich people. Hello? Which nearly doubled the European Union's 3% threshold last year. But Lecornu, who lacks a parliamentary majority, faces a bruising fight to pass a budget. We feel that our colleagues were not fooled by the appointment of Sébastien Lecornu, said Sophie Venancier, General Secretary of FSU, leader union for middle and high school teachers, adding that it did not calm the anger. PGT union leader Sophie Binet said Macron himself remained the biggest obstacle to reversing the pension reform. The obstacle is the Élysée Palace, she declared. The day of action marks Lecornu's first major test in office, but the real political reckoning is aimed squarely at Macron, who has 18 months left in power and faces his lowest ever approval ratings. Yeah, I mean, they want to wait, but they also just want him to get out already. Like, nobody's liked you for a whole 2 years. Please leave. No one wants you anymore.
Yeah, right. They're gonna regret when he goes away because they'll just replace him with a fish.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Don't complain about the people that complained about Obama. Strangely silent now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Obama's not this and he's not that. Well, he was also competent and he was on our side, not Russia's. Why are there so many? Speaking of strikes in France, you want to know these jokes?
Yes.
Why is there so many lightning strikes in France? Because it's the path of, because lightning finds the path of least resistance. You know, the French are famously being invaded all the time by everybody. Anyway, there's your poor joke. I had another joke, but I couldn't find it. Like, it was about, they go on strike in France all the time. It's actually a thing. Like, they're always on strike in France for some reason or another. It's kind of a national identity.
It is. It's things children
we're going
do.
on strike. Damn it!
Right? You know you're a member of the French state when you go to your first protest.
That's right. We are not doing this shit. What? You're making us retire at 62 instead of 60? Remember that? I was like, Jesus, 60?
And
retire at 60? Holy shit.
They're still angry about it. This is the same protest.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be? You promised something and they pulled the fucking rug out from. I need a right to be mad. I'm just saying they love striking, so.
Yeah.
National identity, as I said. Okay, so I did send you a video a while ago. I hope you got it.
Okay.
And we're going to do the Thursday Third Day.
And I'll figure out
And you can go ahead and spin and I'll try to get through this.
Yes, and associate, I think. Yes.
Associate, okay. We had two relatively famous deaths. I would say Robert Redford, movie star, died yesterday or day before. Robert Redford, one of your movie stars. When you think of movie stars, you think of Robert Redford.
He was in everything,
but the week
man.
before, we lost. Yeah, what's that?
He was in everything. A lot of things.
Uh-huh. He was a movie star and a director and an environmentalist and favored definitely Native American rights. He made a lot of movies about that. And, well, we're going to remember him, and we're going to remember another person who died last week, Rick Davies of Supertramp. Supertramp probably belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They were a very profound group, kind of like the keyboard-infused Pink Floyd. You know, they did a lot of deep, meaningful songs. And Robert Redford made hundreds of movies, apparently. Started in directed in them. So we're going to do the cross fusion of these two guys. Or now, you know, if there's a heaven, they're sitting around drinking tea, talking about, hey, that movie you're in. Hey, that song you wrote, right? Let's go ahead and imagine that's happening. And we're going to talk about the 13 Robert Redford movies that probably could have had a Supertramp soundtrack. So number one, we're going to go through these. If you've seen these movies, I don't know if you have or not, but you may have heard of them. Indecent Proposal, the number one Indecent Proposal with Robert Redford, Demi Moore, our poster girl back there, Woody Harrelson, and Indecent Proposal. He wins a bet and he gets to spend a night with his, Woody Harrelson's wife for $1 million. He gives him $1 million and says, I get to be with your wife for a night because you lost his bet. Woody's like, $1 million? Hey. Anyway, the song that goes with this movie is Another Man's Woman, which is a very fitting title. And there you go. Another Man's Woman. Number one goes with Indecent Proposal. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. There you go. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Of course, about two train robbers who in the old American West in the 1880s, 1890s, they were robbing trains. So when the trains were coming through, they would have payroll on them. And so bad guys would stick them up or blow them up in this movie. And of course, but the Supertramp song that goes with this is called Crime of the Century. Because, hey, they were criming. Right? And the crime of the century in most places, if we remember, are usually armored car robberies, right? In those days, they didn't have armored cars. They had steel cars called trains. And those were your crimes of the century every time it happened. So number two, Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. Number three, Lions for Lambs, which is a movie he made in 2007, directed about the idiotic war we went to in Iraq, which is a complete waste of time, a complete waste of treasure, a complete waste of life. And the Supertramp song that goes with that is Soapbox Opera, because Robert Redford is clearly up on his soapbox, telling everybody, and a soapbox opera is exactly what that is. It's a lecture opera, a lecture movie, telling you, you're fucking up. We need to do this right. Number four is The Natural. The Natural is about Ray Hobbs, a minor league nobody baseball player that hits it big for a little short time, a legendary baseball player, Ray Hobbs. And the Supertramp song is Dreamer, because he was dreaming about being a professional baseball player his whole life, and he did get the chance, and we won't tell you how it ends. But The Natural, great baseball movie, we're not going to give the end away. The Milagro Beanfield War was another directed by Robert Redford movie. It involved water rights in the southwestern United States and anywhere where there's limited water and you got a river that you can use for irrigation. And the Supertramp song is called If Everyone Was Listening. If everyone was listening, you know, we would actually get somewhere instead of just fighting with each other. And that is the theme of the Milagro Beanfield War. There is a solution other than constantly one-upping each other. So if everyone was listening, fits this movie to a T. Number 6 is Ordinary People with Donald Sutherland, Robert Redford, Mary Tyler Moore, another famous actor. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, Ordinary People is a movie about a family where a young child dies and the older sibling attempts suicide, and the parents dealing with all of this bullshit. And the Supertramp song is Take the Long Way Home, right? Your life is falling apart. You hate your job. Take the long way home. Sing a song. You feel better before you got to go home and deal with all that tragedy. And of course, Robert Redford is dealing with it. There's no way to deal with it, right? There really isn't. So it's a really sad movie. Oscar-winning movie, by the way. Number 6 is Our Souls at Night, which is one of the last movies Mr. Redford made with Jane Fonda. He made a bunch of movies with Jane Fonda. He made Electric Horseman. He made, what is it called? When they were young, he made another one. I want to say Saturday, something about the park. Anyway, it's not on my list. He made a bunch of movies with Jane Fonda. Okay, I can't think of it. I'll think of it. I'll think of it after the break. But yeah, and Our Souls at Night, they're just dealing with, aging. And so the Supertramp song for that one is Ain't Nobody But Me. And the theme of that song is Ain't Nobody But Me gonna lie for you, gonna die for you, gonna try for you. And that's what it is when you're an old couple. There ain't nobody else out there for you. It's just you and your couple, and you've been all this time. You might not get along, but there ain't nobody out there you can count on. Number 7, this is the one where he goes into the frontier. This is Jeremiah Johnson, who leaves society, becomes a mountain man, goes to war, actually, with the local Indian tribes. Jeremiah Johnson wrestles grizzly bears, all that fun shit. And the Supertramp song about that is a song about a loner who takes the train into the city. It's a metaphor. Rudy is the name of that song. Rudy is just a nobody, no accomplishments, no real life, and he just goes in a train and observes what the world is about. Kind of similar to Jeremiah Johnson. I might be a bit of a reach, but I'm looking for metaphors here. Number 8 is The Way We Were by, that one's is a early Cold War. We hate communists. We suspect the other side. They're communists. They believe in human rights. There must be communists. So The Way We Were, the original story was Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford during the Cold War. And the song that goes with that is Fool's Overture. It's about all of this stuff we go through about our differences. The Fool's Overture is talking about wars are started over differences, and we have more in common than we really realize, and we got to stop thinking that war is going to solve a problem that we have. So, Fool's Overture. Number 9 is The Horse Whisperer. You might have heard of The Horse Whisperer, an actual person. But a lot of horses, they have psychological problems. And so the song that goes with this is Hide in Your Shell, right? Hide in your shell. In other words, the song from the album The Crime of the Century is all about the world is out to kick your ass. So just keep it all to yourself. Just bury it all inside, keep it inside, which is actually terrible advice. But it's not to be taken literally. It's about, yeah, you can bust out of that. I'm on your side. And I'm just saying, The Horse Whisperer, probably says these kind of things to the horse in horse language, right? Hey, horse, come out of your shell. Right? You can be a person. You can be a real person, as a horse can be a person too. Not a human, but a person. Number 10 is Up Close and Personal. It's a story about television. It's about interviewees in television and these two personal story between these two reporters. But the Supertramp song that goes with that is Child of Vision. Child of Vision is about a kid that just plants himself in front of the television all day long and never leaves. Like, hey, he's there from good morning, eating food, sitting in front of the television all day long and never learning anything except what he tells them. So that is up to number 10. Number 11 is Quiz Show, which was a real story, and the Supertramp song for that one is Bloody Well Right. Right? Bloody Well Right is all about you went to this big fancy college, didn't learn a damn thing, and it doesn't even matter because you have money. And of course, Quiz Show is about a cheating scandal. There used to be this quiz show, I think it was called the $64,000 Question, and they took this aristocratic guy, red-haired, aristocratic, upper-class American, and put him on Quiz Show and fed him the answers, and nobody doubted that he knew the answers because, look, he's a rich white guy. He obviously knows everything, and he got away with it. So basically, Bloody Well Right sums it up, and it all depends on money and who is in your family tree. It doesn't even matter if you're smart. You're just going to win on Quiz Show, and everybody just accepts it. You know, if it was a maid from Cincinnati, nobody would have accepted her knowing all that shit, right? It had to be some rich guy that nobody questioned. Oh, he went to Harvard. He must be, you know? So that Quiz Show, great movie, directed by Robert Redford. He does not star in it. A lot of these he does not star in. Brubaker, the song that goes with that one was also from Crime of the Century, as Bloody Well Right was. Brubaker is the one where Robert Redford plays a incoming prison warden who goes incognito into the prison before he takes the job to see how the prisoners are treated. And the song that goes with that is Asylum. Asylum is about somebody losing their mind, and the chorus goes, Please don't send me to no asylum. I'm just as sane as anyone. Prison, asylum, kind of the same thing. I'm reaching on that one a little bit. Number 13 is All Is Lost. Number 13 is All Is Lost. All Is Lost is about a shipwreck survivor. There's almost no dialogue in it. I think there's like 51 words spoken in the whole movie by Robert Redford. Kind of a Tom Hanks Castaway movie, really. He's lost at sea for this whole time, just him and himself. And the Supertramp song for that is Just Another Nervous Wreck, which is it's a song about losing everything, right? He does nothing. So, yeah. Just Another Nervous Wreck, the song goes, I'm feeling so alone now, they cut the telephone out. And this is about absolute destitute poverty, and they're about to kick you out of where you live. So there's your 13 Robert Redford movies that could have used just an injection of some Supertramp. It would have just made the movie so much more enjoyable. And he said, yeah, nice soundtrack. So there's your list. Just Another Nervous Wreck. I like the song. I used to think that she was so nimble, I would have bought her as a symbol, but now I can't afford the pen to sign her checks.
Wow. That's sad.
Yeah.
That's pretty wrecky. That's a pretty wrecky. Yeah, I mean, what can I associate this with? I think there are a lot of artists who make a lot of songs about different things, and I feel like they could for a lot of films. Of course, one band I can think of, they call them a band, or like a duo, but they're called M83. They're a French group. They make like EDM music and stuff like that. But I always thought they should have scored a film, and then they did. They scored one of Tom Cruise's, not Mission Impossible, but like a Tom Cruise. Can't think of the name right now. But and it was a pretty good soundtrack. Like, I've actually listened to the soundtrack of that. So sometimes it happens, right? You get artists who can break into the film thing, and it's a shame Supertramp did that. Maybe we can make a movie. We make a movie where we use Supertramp.
Another Nervous Wreck is on the flip side. Right. Their biggest hit was probably Logical Song, and just Another Nervous Wreck is the flip side of that.
Yeah.
So if you own that 45, you already know that song, and it's also on the album Breakfast in America, which you said was probably know that song, but there's no real rock. Yeah. It was their last masterpiece, I would say, and it was a masterpiece. There wasn't a bad song on it. It really wasn't a bad song on it. The weakest song is probably Dreamer, and that was a hit, you know?
All right, our next segue is Bad Pun from my culture segment here.
Bad Pun.
Which we're going to be talking about the concert that some artists in the UK held in support of Palestine, because if anyone's paying attention to the UK stance on Palestine, they're just refusing to, agree that there's a genocide happening there. And so people in the UK want to reveal that they don't stand with the government's position and that they want Gaza to be saved from starvation at this point. Scores of artists, speakers, and activists appear at a 4-hour fundraiser curated by Brian Eno, but it's Palestinian voices who make the big impression, by Michael Hahn on The Guardian. Sheer scale of it was boggling. A total of 69 artists, speakers and activists were to appear at the Wembley. There were stars of music, Damon Albarn, Bastille, Pink Pantheress, Hot Chip, and a festival worth of others. There were stars of stage and screen, Benedict Cumberbatch, Florence Pugh, Guy Pearce, Rami Youssef, and a huge supporting cast. There were the firebrands, the podcasters, the people you are sure are important, but you have no idea why. And there were the people, don't really know what they're bringing. The former footballer Eric Cantona, the Love Island host Laura Whitmore, and the Chicken Shop Dates YouTuber Amelia. Wow. Do not slander Amelia Dimmeldenberg for her Chicken Shop Dates, okay? She's a great interviewer. That's why she was there, to interview people and provide some really, Anyways, do not slander Chicken Shop Dates, The Guard. You're just jealous that she's better than you. And one of the evening's artists, Paul Weller, it might have seemed all very familiar. The combination of righteousness and music was reminiscent of big events of the Thatcher years, the GLC Jobs for a Change Festival in Battersea Park in 1985, July, the Artist Against Apartheid Festival for Freedom of Clapham Common following summer. Weller played with the Style Council at the latter, which offered a similarly eclectic experience. Archbishop Trevor Huddleston reminiscing about giving Gary Kemp his first guitar before Spandau Ballet performed Through the Barricades. In other respects, though, it was very modern. There was no need for wandering through the crowd, shaking buckets, as well as the £500,000 or so raised by ticket sales. There were hours. Together for Palestine elicits online donations, and like any good arena event, offered a vast array of merch designed by Iham Hassan, Bella Freud, Catherine Hammett, Priya I can say this name, Duwalia, and other fashion stars, from the Codian t-shirts to the inevitable keffias. Given the arena rock show expect to add up to 50% in merch sales to tax ticket revenue, that these designs too are available online, it shaped up to be an efficient fundraising exercise. It was not an excuse for white saviorism. Though Brian Eno had assembled the bill, the artistic director was the exiled Palestinian artist Malak Matar, who had left Gaza on the 6th October 2023 to begin studying at Central St. Martin's. The oud player Adna Joban, the rapper El Fai, and the singer Nai Barghouti were on the bill, representing different strands of Palestinian identity. Before the event began, a crowd filed in, bamboozled by a lack of signage. A dozen or so protesters clutching Israeli flags tried to make their presence known, with a snake of people waving Palestinian flags and chanting and drumming their way around the plaza outside the arena. But few ticket holders stopped for more than a moment, and no more than a few police. apart. Inside, the mood was far from insurrectionary. The nearest thing to dissent came when Louis Theroux referred to Israeli violence and was heckled. It's a genocide! Right? It's not Israeli violence, it's genocide. They are committing a genocide. One of the oddities of the events like this is that they are the only gatherings of which mentions of genocide are cheered. Yes, that's right. People are so starved of like somebody in power saying it's a genocide that whenever someone say it, they're like, yes, thank you for admitting something that everyone else just, oh no, I don't see anything. I'm looking this way and I'm not looking over there. One participant appeared to feel the need to exercise caution. Benedict Cumberbatch shared the reading of a poem by Mahmoud Darwish with the playwright Amr Hillel, and while the teleprompter spoke of the dead of Gaza ascending to heaven with a smile, he paused and left that bit out. Yes. Let's not talk about, hey, don't worry that all those people are getting killed in a genocide. Because they're ascending to heaven. I'm like, no. We're not going to put a positive spin on the fact that people are dying, okay? That's not...
Yeah.
Richard Gere went wildly off, ditching his scripted speech about Gaza's doctors to instead talk about the caravan of love and compassion and dancing. The teleprompter operator scrolled up and scrolled down and eventually gave up. Palestinian speakers and musicians made a huge impression. Journalist Yara Eid spoke fiercely about the 270 journalists killed in Gaza. The huge cheers, and not just Palestinian, right? People of all countries and creeds. Gorgeous journalists being killed by Israeli missiles. The pianist Faraj Suleiman will never play again to 12,500 people at Wembley, but here he did, back thrilling by a jazz prog power trio. Barghouti too enthralled the crowd. No cheer was louder though than the one that greeted Nene Cherry, joined Green Tang on stage to perform her hit 7 Seconds. After 4 hours, during which time few left the auditorium, as in nobody left the show, Wembley's beer sales will not have broken any records. Some of the audience were losing focus and slopping off, ignoring Al Barn, Omar Suleiman, and the Gorillas. The organizers probably didn't mind, for so many left wearing Together for Palestine t-shirts and collecting tote bags. By 10 p.m., Jamila Jamil announced the show had already raised £1.5 million. Job done. So it sounds like a great fundraising effort. I hope that money can actually make it to help people in Gaza, because yet again, right, they're being starved out there. They're drinking 1 cup of water a day or something, probably less. 1 cup of water per family. Something terrible like this. Barely any food, barely any of your daily calorie intake. It's awful, it's terrible, and hopefully it gets supplies in so these people are fed, and also medical supplies and all sorts of things they probably need. Malnutrition that's occurring there. That's my story.
Unfortunately, I have to tell a joke.
No, bad.
All right,
pun,
here's a pun. Oh, a pun's a joke. How do you know if money is the root of all evil?
How?
Israel and Palestine have been divided by a bank for decades. The West Bank. Groan.
Terrible, but so true. It's true.
In history.
Great pun.
Yeah, that's whoa. September 18th in history.
Let's roll our segue wheel here.
Ooh, it's Ben Carson's birthday. You know that?
Metaphor or simile for this day in history?
Metaphor or simile. What happened on this day in history? In 1819, French physicist Jean-Bernard Léon Foucault, who introduced and helped develop a technique for measuring with extreme accuracy the absolute velocity of light, and provided experimental proof that Earth rotates on its axis. Well, it's his birthday today. Way to go, dude. So over 200 years ago he was born. 226 he would be. 226. Happy birthday. 1885, Bulgarian nationalists in eastern Rumelia mounted a coup and declared the province's unification with Bulgaria. leading to the Serbo-Bulgarian War. Everybody's going to war. 1895, Booker T. Washington declared the Atlanta Compromise, a classic statement on race relations, in a speech in Atlanta exposition. And Booker T. Washington, kind of one of those guys that went along with, we're inferior to white people, so we need to deal with it. So he was a little stupid. And that extent, even though he was an educated, it's like, we need segregation. Yeah, he was all into the, I'm in my place, I belong in my place, kind of a black man. So yeah, even though he was educated and he was put up as an educated black man, he kind of went with the I'm inferior, obviously, nonsense. 1898, British forces under Sir Horatio Herbert Kirchner confronted the French forces commanded by Jean-Baptiste Marchand and disputed Fort of Fashada in the Egyptian Sudan. Yeah, the British and French fighting in Egypt. Makes perfect sense, right? 1905, actress Greta Garbo was born. She was best known for her portrayals of strong-willed heroines, most of them as compellingly enigmatic as herself, was born in Stockholm. Greta Garbo, famous, what do you call it? Somebody that hides away, becomes a hermit. Recluse, famous recluse. That's it. 1933, Canadian ice hockey coach Scotty Bowman won the record 9 Stanley Cups, was born. 9 Stanley Cups. He was the Montreal Canadiens, for one. I don't know who else. Head coach of the National Hockey League. So 9 of those things. Actually, there's only 1 Stanley Cup, and they just engrave it every year. They give it to the team, and the team that wins it gets it. There's only 1 Stanley Cup. You don't get to keep it. Yeah. 1948, a local communist commander seized power in Mandion, Indonesia. Mandion, Indonesia, as part of a rebellion effort against the Sukarno government in the incident known as the Madiun Affair. Good name for it. It was 1948. 1961, UN Secretary General Dag Hammarskjöld died in a plane crash. That generated much speculation. A 2017 investigation found that it appears plausible that external attack or threat may have been a cause of the crash. So he was murdered, right? Probably. His plane was shot down, but it took him, I guess, almost 60 years to figure it out. 1965, Japanese astronomer Akaya Kaoru and Siki Sotomo discovered the comet Ikaya Siki, named after both of them. So they discovered a comet, and there you are. 1970, Jimi Hendrix died in an overdose of barbiturates in London. The 27 Club member who fused American traditions of blues, jazz, rock, and soul techniques of British avant-garde rock to redefine the electric guitar in his own image. The left-handed Stratocaster retired for good. Sad day in history, as Jimi Hendrix said. Died of an overdose, and again, I'm suspicious of all overdose deaths of rock stars. I think the government was behind them. I think they're explicitly planning drugs for these people to OD on. And because they saw it as subversive. They saw anybody that wasn't just straight-laced white guy with a tie as subversive, right? Yeah. So I'm not even making that up. That's what they saw. Everybody who wasn't just short hair, tie, white as subversive. Everybody else was a communist. 2001, for the second straight day, Typhoon Nari pounded Taiwan. And don't forget, Nixon was in office, and he was a nefarious pile of shit. Anyway, 2001, back to the stories. For the second straight day, Typhoon Nari pounded Taiwan with record rainfalls, causing massive flooding, killing 79 people. That probably got overshadowed by all the crap that was going on with 9/11 in those days, but that actually happened, so it got buried in the news at the time. 2014, Scottish voters, the Scottish voters were conned into rejecting a referendum that would have made Scotland an independent country, because the British royal family lied and went behind their backs and said, hey, we're not taking a side, when they legitimately were taking a side. 2019, A nest of northern giant hornets was destroyed in Vancouver Island in British Columbia. It was the first nest reported in North America where the insects are an invasive species. Oh boy. I caught a hornet the other day in a jar. It flew in the house. I had to catch it. And it was a nasty looking thing.
No, yeah. Hornets are
one of the Melanie looked it up.
Evil
Melanie
things.
was here. She looked it up. It was a European hornet and an invasive species. So I kept it in a jar.
Hornet
Did not
in the
let
jar.
it go. And there's probably more of them. They don't just one. Right? Actually, one came out the next night, buzzing at the yard light because they needed heat. It's getting cold there now. Anyway, 2020 Supreme Court Justice. Why are you saying a lawyer? Here's the thing with Britannica. Can we just call Ruth Bader Ginsburg a United States Supreme Court Justice and not a lawyer? Is that possible? Because that's the position she got. Anyway, she died at this age of 87. Who was the second woman to serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. And she died, unfortunately for us, weeks before the election where we could have got a decent freaking Supreme Court justice to replace her. Instead, we got a fascist rubber stamp instead. Our featured event in 1931. On this day in 1931, the so-called Mukden incident, the Japanese army in Manchuria used the pretext of an explosion along its railway to occupy Mukden and decrease its control within 3 months to all of Manchuria. And of course, the Japanese were not nice to the Chinese citizens. Our featured biography is Samuel Johnson, the English author, born September 18, 1709, Lichfield, England, died in London at the age of 75 in 1784. Other birthdays today, Greta Garbo, we did. Ben Carson, American neurosurgeon and politician who talks like he's sleeping. Sounds like he's talking to this very boring guy to listen to. Former presidential candidate, and I think he got appointed last Trump administration to some position where he just wasted government money and had to resign. 1961 is the birthday of James Gandolfini, the Sopranos guy. He played Tony Soprano. Typical Italian name, Tony, right? Tony, let's call him Tony. 1971, Lance Armstrong is born. Like 7 or 8, 9-time, whatever, Tour de France winner who had to surrender all of his titles for cheating. He was doping. He was using steroids. And he wagged his finger at all of us that accused him and said, I'm not taking steroids. And he was lying the whole time. So Lance Armstrong, real piece of crap. Anyway, he's turning 54 today. Happy birthday, Lance. 1976, Ronaldo, British athlete. I don't know if he's still playing soccer, but he's turning 49 today. Hopefully he's not playing. Brazilian soccer player. Our National Day calendar doesn't have a lot of things. It's National HIV, AIDS, and Aging Awareness Day. All of those things. National HIV, AIDS, and Aging Awareness. Now, everybody's aging, so I don't know what... I guess you got to be aware of it. National Cheeseburger Day. National Pawpaw Day, which is like a fruit growing on a tree in the American South. They give it another name. Let's see what it's called. And it's also Air Force's birthday. The Air Force was created as a subset of the Army Air Corps, but they got their own title to this day in history. And those are your days, your mispronunciations. A pawpaw, though, is a...
is it made of potato or something?
Thursday in September provides a taste of a great forgotten American creamy mango banana flavored pawpaw to celebrate.
That fruit.
They also other names for it are the Kentucky banana and the hillbilly mango. Yeah, we must include a slur, which hillbilly is a slur. Don't forget that it is a slur. I love it. I love how you can use slurs. Some slurs are fine, but hillbilly is a slur. Yeah, never went out of style to slur people who, well, you married your cousin. Look at you, you idiot. So there's your stories, your haikus, your limericks, your mispronunciations, your jokes. everything for today, September 18th, 2025, and before cheeseburgers. And pawpaws if you have them.
If you have some pawpaws. Well, I guess since you're, now I have to tell a hillbilly joke. Why did the hillberry... Oh, sorry.
All right.
What's the hillberry's favorite pickup line?
Are you daddy? I don't know.
Are you my cousin? Because you look familiar.
I was close enough.
What's a hillbilly's idea of high fashion?
Two shoes?
A clean tank top with matching flip-flops. Matching! Wow, amazing.
Matching, there you go. All right, then.
All right, there's
Rip on the hillbillies.
Jokes / bad puns, I guess, about hillbillies. It's also International Equal Pay Day. So we were talking about that earlier, right? With people going on strike and stuff, and
people going on strike,
finding out that they weren't getting paid well on their freaking reality show. So let's celebrate
reality people being tortured and not being paid for $7 an hour.
Modern slavery. Women earn 77 cents for every dollar men earn for work of equal value. As in, if you're both nurses, for some reason the male nurse is making more money than you. What is he doing more than me? Carrying around his huge balls? I don't know. What's going on here? It's even wider gap for women with children. So if you have children, you get paid less for some reason, because I guess they assume you have a husband. There must be a man in your life paying for that child. You don't need more money. So it's expected that only 28% of women employed worldwide get to enjoy paid maternity leave, and globally nearly 65% of people of retirement age without any regular pensions are women. So yeah, that's the issue, right? They want women to basically slave over their children in the household for the rest of their lives, and they're 65 or whatever, They don't have a pension because they didn't have a job, and a lot of countries don't pay you if you never had a job. You don't get any of your tax. You didn't pay any taxes. You don't get any tax money. You're just kind of left to be delinquent, right? Just become homeless at 65. But there is your international thing we need to observe today. We need to work towards equal pay for work of equal value. Make sure that nobody is getting stiffed by the big boss man. Share how much money you're making with your coworkers, so you all know that you're getting.
Yeah, don't let the fascists, and they are fascists, they will cheat you out of every dime if you let them.
Yeah, exactly.
And make you work days you don't want to work, or you lose your job. That kind of shit. Like, oh boy, I'm a slave to this asshole.
Modern slavery, for sure. This has been Alison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we finish up another Thursdays 13. I hope you enjoyed hearing about some cool songs that you maybe should from the Supertramp, and also some films from Robert Redford that you can watch. And we will see you tomorrow for the Friday news dump, in which we'll tell you all the things to know before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about it. If you'd like to support the show, there's always Patreon, many different tiers on there to support the show with. And of course, if you can't, liking, commenting on the video, and sharing it with your friends is great too. We'll see you tomorrow. Here is our mic drop moment.
And we laughed. We understand everybody's laughing with us and not at us.
Hold on a second, mine's not loading. Did you start already?
I can't pause it once I started.
William's birth.
Okay, all right. I know what it's about, so.
And that's all we have to say. She also wants to make it known that William was born actually in the ambulance, which technically was not.
Yeah, she wasn't in the. Okay, the baby wasn't born inside of the.
Yeah,
that's just such a.
Born in a parking lot of a strip
club.
Right, yeah.
No, not.
At least there's plenty of women there, I guess.
Not there.
He says we've all been there.
You freak out. He drove by 2 hospitals.
Sure did. He drove by 2 hospitals to get in the strip club.
Some slack. Oh.
MJ.
How does it go so wrong? That's what I want to know.
We've all been there. there.
The guy says we've all been there. He wasn't. Yeah.
No, I got the joke. We've all been to the strip club. I've never been to a strip club. Well, you should go.
Chance of showers the rest of the day, high of 46.
I fault these ladies for having dirty
Can't even
minds.
deliver the weather. She's laughing so hard.
Rainy and breezy overnight Friday to Saturday. Showers on Saturday.
Would you say it's going to be a bit wet this week?
Tuesday look dry for Seattle.
That's a bit too on the nose.
And then Tuesday, Wednesday, we can get some more rain.
Showers.
That was cold.
Have a great day. Hope you're having as much fun as we are. We'll see you again tomorrow morning starting at 4:30 a.m.
A good day to go to the strip club.
I would never do morning.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old